Wow, it's amazing how many takes I have to do for one simple episode. This is probably the 10th time I'm recording this, but that's kind of how it goes. And sometimes I just don't edit and I publish it as is. Most of the time it works out pretty well that way, but for some reason I'm just not saying the right things today. My name is Cody Cox. I am your host, and you're listening to Real Food Mental Health. You might have noticed that my topics have been a little bit scattered. I really love holistic health, functional medicine. There's so much information to cover, but I am wanting to actually narrow it down a little bit more. Yes, I have been trying to focus more on mental health than anything else, but coincidentally, I have been unintentionally specializing in metabolic health for the last several months in my clinical practice. I don't know how I got into it, honestly. I think maybe I read a book that just took me down a rabbit hole, and I've been getting more and more training and reading more and more books and listening to podcasts and stuff ever since. I don't know where it started, but it was probably about this time last year, actually, September of last year, that I've been getting into this. So because of that, I'm thinking I need to cover metabolic health more on my podcast because I haven't really done it very much so far on this show, even though I've been publishing episodes for almost a year now. And I've had some really great guests. I've discussed some really great topics, but not very much about metabolism. And I can talk about it a little bit myself. In fact, I just finished a training to become an insulin IQ coach. So if you have followed a ketogenic diet, maybe you failed because it wasn't structured enough, you didn't know what you were doing, maybe you needed a little bit more guidance, finding an insulin IQ coach actually would be a really good way to go. And so I am now offering that. As of right now, I'm just offering that as part of my individualized nutrition service. So if you're interested, go to my website and sign up for individualized nutrition. And I would be more than happy to guide you through the Insulin IQ program. It is a program rather than simply coaching. So check that out. I'm also working on getting some guests for this show to speak more specifically about metabolic health. In fact, I already have one lined up who's going to talk about metabolic health and mental health. I'm really excited to talk to him. I'm going to be interviewing him in a couple weeks. And I'm hopefully going to line up some more who can speak on this topic. What is metabolic health? Well, I'm not going to dive into the science of it right now, but the gist of it is essentially the healthier that your mitochondria are, the better your metabolism, and the better your metabolism, the clearer your mind is going to be, the more energy you're going to have. And overall, you're just going to be healthier. You're going to have a stronger immune system, so you're not going to get sick as much. So that's kind of the gist of metabolic health, and you might want to check out Dr. Casey Means. She wrote a really good book called Good Energy. In fact, she has an audiobook, and she narrates it herself. So Dr. Casey Means, and I've mentioned a couple times before, Doctors Christopher Palmer and Georgia Ede, they're more specific to mental health and metabolic health, but they also have really good books. If you don't want to focus on metabolic health, Dr. Benjamin Bickman's Why We Get Sick is another really good book. Or Robert Lufkin's The Lies I Taught in Medical School. That sounds a little bit contentious, but he offers really good information in that book as well. So I'm hoping to get more of that, but also I've got some existing services that can really, really boost a person's metabolic health. Now, for one thing, psychotherapy itself can boost metabolic health, but then more on the biochemical side of things, of course, my nutrition stuff, so the individualized nutrition, but also the Restart program, which I've mentioned before. It's a group nutrition program, is a really great segue into either a low-carb diet, a paleo diet, or a whole food diet. So if you've been trying to eat healthy, but you're really struggling to do so, maybe the Restart program is a good option for you. It's going to be cheaper than the individualized nutrition service that I offer. And the nice thing about this is it's a group of up to 10 people, so it's a little bit more of a support group. So hopefully you'll make some friends. You can even bring friends with you and sign up together for this program. And I'm hoping to start one up very soon. Now that we're into back to school time, this is a busier time of year for me, but this is also the time when people care a little bit more about getting into this kind of stuff. And so I'm hoping to start another Restart group sometime September or October. If you have a specific day or time that you would like to have a group, especially if you have friends signing up with you, send me an email, beavercreekwellness.com/contact. Send me an email, let me know what days and times you prefer, and I'll do what I can to accommodate that request, because even if you just have a group of 3 people, I would be happy to provide that to you. It's only 5 weeks. So it's a really great way to get into a low-carb diet or simply just learn about whole foods. So it's not only an experiential program, but it's educational as well. So beavercreekwellness.com/restart if you want to learn more. If you have any suggestions for specific topics or specific guests that you want to hear on the show, please let me know. Send a message at beavercreekwellness.com/contact, or if you use Signal Messenger, which I highly recommend. It's a lot like WhatsApp, but it's a nonprofit organization. They don't collect your data, so it's totally free. Check out the Signal Messenger app. I don't get any money for that, for promoting it or anything like that, because it's a nonprofit. I'm not an affiliate of any kind, but send me a message on that. My username is cox.07, cox.07. Speaking of nonprofits, the Weston A. Price Foundation is holding their annual Wise Traditions Conference this year in mid-October in Salt Lake City, Utah. Usually they're in the eastern United States, and that has actually kept me from going until now. So I'm going to be there, and I encourage you to be there too, if you can be, because the Weston A. Price Foundation, they put out some really great, wholesome information about nutrition, homesteading, farming, self-reliance, that kind of stuff. And so if you're interested, go to wisetraditions.org. You can register for the conference there. Also, by the way, they have a really great podcast called Wise Traditions, so be sure to check that out. That's it for this week's episode. I know it's short and sweet because I've been super busy and I'm trying to get some new things going for you. But stay tuned because there are some really great things coming in the near future. Have a great week.